Hello YouTube, Infinite Match Great Community, Gandalf here. Thought I'd give a little bit of an update on the 108 account. And today you saw me do the pollen summon, if you caught that video earlier. And of course this week we got enough for Nordak. And as expected, I cleared stage 30 for both. Um, right now I'm still working on, and unfortunately, when you clear the last one, you don't actually get a key. But I am trying to figure out, is there a way to quickly set it up so that I can auto first mark. I can definitely auto um, 30 mark for green, but for me right now, I mean, this is a really good option in terms of just strengthening up Hazanja and Nordak and this team. I would also kind of want to be able to farm 30. Want to be able to farm 30 Force Faction a little bit more too, just because that will help me get my Panda and Santa ready as well. But, knowing both of them are cleared, I can quickly now, my Nordak just from E0 all of a sudden now can go to exclusive 1, which is great, allowing him to actually start doing damage now, really making some changes to my team. So first, maybe I'll start off by kind of just highlighting the team composition a little bit. Nordak, obviously, you want a lot of more speed. Both of them are emblemless. That definitely will need to be addressed. But this is just showing, very minimum stats, making it work. So yeah, so this is kind of his. What you can do, I mean, what I'll say is prioritize speed over subs early on, just because you want him to be close to Catherine's speed if you can. If not, at least kind of sync him up with Santa a little bit if you can. Um, just because you want Nordak to be able to cycle his turn. You don't want his speed to be too far sync out of the other one, just so that they can kind of move in unison will be the best. Um, as we transition, eventually Catherine is going to be replaced with Lydia, and what we'll be running is Lydia, Santa, Nordak, along with DMU and Indra, and that will basically be kind of our end game dungeon team, which will help us farm all the gear we'll probably need in this game. The only one it won't be able to farm is Grillin, and the way we're going to solve for Grillin is we're actually going to work on our Elemental City, and the first one we're actually going to pick will be Dharma. Dharma will be the best direct damage dealer, and I've showcased that to be a very good versatile alternative compared to using to grab a copy of Jingle Bell. So this will give us kind of the direct damage option that we're looking for on our composition, and that will basically help us start transitioning from maybe mid game to late game over the next two month or so. What I'll say is Tower Mark Green. This is the team I was using. Funny enough, with this team, I actually just hit the skip button a couple of times and I cleared it. So I'll just show you the setup I had it on. Mamook definitely helps a lot. Mamook started out with just the taunt. Second one just left it be. Third one left it be as well. Realistically, I think probably maybe just one taunt over here just so that it's ready on the last turn and you're okay. First one for space, slow it down, and Mamook speeding up kind of give me the extra turn cycles I needed. Turn 2, get a heal, maybe slow down just once, we're okay. Hazanja, I really should be making sure I do is for all the waves. I'm banning the second skill. The last one again, ban the bully skill, so that I'm always applying dots to all the enemy every turn. The reset helps, making sure the enemy doesn't cast anything. The last one, I think I'll just, if I do this, I'll only use it once maybe to help with a reset. For the most part, I want to be using the joint attack with Hazanja just to make sure that I'm always having it ready. For Nordak, first round, just use a shield. Second round, make sure I use Holy Shelter. This is the one where you kind of want to just make sure you're in a good place to avoid a lot of burst damage up front if you don't CC them. And from there, the last one, just focus on just cycling the turns as it comes up. And that should help you farm 30, not a problem. Here, on the on the on the on the yellow faction, I mean here's where it gets a little bit weird. I did manual this one to clear it. It is a little bit trickier, but on the last stage, I think what's really important is I had to time it so that I could get a big nuke off on the boss. I feel like once Indra is E2, the amount of damage I'll be doing on the boss will be a lot more. So I could have a little bit more freedom in terms of how these wave interact. But the key here is really you want to be able to have Santa freeze both waves and take the opportunity to go through a little bit easier. Indra will be E2 next week, and in the month I will get another exclusive from the I'll buy the $40 one from the weekly one, and I'll probably put DMU at E1 at that point so I can get the speed up option. I feel like at that point this team should easily be able to farm Force Mark without much consideration. It'll be nice to finish everything else. The main reason I finish is actually just for the Mythic Shard at this point, and of course more efficient farming for the other one. But I feel like at this point we're exactly 6 weeks into the game today, and being able to finish 2 of them puts me at a good spot for efficient farming on keys as we move forward. And we'll say that with addition of just Paulin without any skill up, I got another stage cleared, and with Moshi's change, it allowed me to clear Sega City 23. And so what we're hoping is as we get our vouchers over the next 4 weeks, we'll prioritize getting a Wukong E3 at this point in the game. I want to be able to push Sega City up to stage 40, as I mentioned. Finally, from a gear building perspective, let me just change my screen here a little bit. We'll go to my YouTube channel actually and show you guys this, because I do get comments from time to time. It's like, oh, can you show us how to build heroes in general or stuff like that? And what I'll say is I've actually covered a lot of that content already on my channel. So let me just quickly share my screen here. So if you actually go to my channel, view your channel, and on my playlist, you will find there is a section on game mechanics. And in here you will find the things on emblem, the damage formulas, the auras, how to how does effective hit work, the different game content in terms of how do you build your team and have your basic thoughts around some of that, how to do trio events, ice skating, so hopefully that helps a little bit. If you're thinking about PvP, in my PvP fundamentals guide, I go over in turn, and I apologize, some of the audio must be real awful now I think about it. They were recorded really early on. Maybe at some point I'll find time to maybe redo some of these videos, and maybe create more brief versions of them. But here I talk about speed tuning, I talk about different team compositions, and I would say, the principles around team compositions, I don't think it changed. Doesn't matter how much power creep we get. The thoughts and the different genre of teams we could have, the principles still apply. So those are that. I should probably update some of the team composition list now that we have I had composition tier lists in terms of how to build some of these teams and how they evolve over time. But obviously now that we have a lot more new heroes, some of this is a little bit out of date. I guess I'll find the time to update these as well. In general, right? I think the game does a decent job in terms of the recommendation. There are things that it's off on. But in general, if I just have to keep it simple, when it comes to support, really try to figure out what role does it play, right? Is it someone that provides buffs? Is it some support actually do damage, which is weird, but some do. For example, Jilliman or even Willa is considered as a support. For these heroes, for most support heroes, I'll say speed is always, there's a preferential on speed. You build them with effective hit if they focus on control. So for example, Santa priority, is slowing people down, applying freeze. So you look at look at the effective formula, prioritize on hitting those effective hits before you get speed. And then, whatever remaining stats, try to distribute it into HP. And it's just all about, finding the exclusive, the auras, and blessing that will help, bring that all together a little bit. For other type of supports that are a little bit more on the healing and tanking side, for example, like Catherine or Mumu is a little bit of an odd one because you do want effective as well. Like just see what they need, right? Like for example, Catherine, you will need, speed, HP, and then healing percentage if you can. Like space, prioritize on speed. If it's a turn meter boost, right? If it's a goal to get your entire team to go first, the first mover and the second mover, they usually should have the highest speed. Go to my speed tuning guide when it comes to talking about the exact speed to optimize so you can maximize the stats distribution between the different heroes. When it comes to defense heroes, it depends on what role they play, right? If they're a tank and support, like Nordak can prioritize on just speed and HP early on. If you're using for him for PvP, you start thinking about putting a lot of effective resistance on him as well, after considering you have sufficient speed. Because of how his ultimate works, being able to cycle this faster than everybody else. Like on my other account, around Nordak around 2800, and rest of my team is around maybe 2000. Combined with Lydia, this kind of speed cycling allows me to take every 3 turn on Nordak and then also get a turn. Like I get 3 turns of Nordak for every other hero taking 2 turns. So with Lydia, that means my Nordak buff is like pretty much on 100% of the time. So that's kind of how you take advantage of the speed tuning a little bit. Like Nordak being 1.5 times faster roughly than the rest of your heroes that are maybe the damage dealers. And it worked really well with E2 Lydia turn meter reduction. Now, what else should I say here? Attack heroes, depends on, right? Like if you have mixed damage, which we see a lot of, where it's a lot of skill damage focused, then focus on devouring set as your end goal. Otherwise, just whatever, subs you can get. Attack, mastery, if it's attack, it scales off attack and does dot damage. If it scales off direct damage, then it's just attack, crit damage. Focus on getting, from a gearing perspective, usually it's, mastery, crit over here. Here is the primary stat you need. And the last one, usually you aim for speed, unless you get enough subs across the base to kind of hit around 2000 speed. Early on, for your last slot, really just use speed. It gives you way more bang for the buck, I'll say. Later on, once you actually have enough subs from other pieces, you could consider running a different piece on the last one. So that's what I'll leave with you on a general note in terms of, sharing with you where this account is at, and answering some of the viewer questions. As usual, I always look at my questions and things in the comment. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment. I'll usually try to get either reply to you, or if I get enough of those questions, I'll try to address it in a video as well. I'll catch you guys all in the next one. Gandalf out.